fucking dark around the edge of my heart, around the edge of my heart. Go.
It finally happened. We have it. We have achieved it. My most anticipated album of the year, Intellectual Property by Waterparks. It's here, folks. Waterparks' 5th studio album, Intellectual Property, and my most anticipated album of this year has finally dropped. And going into this album, I was a little skeptical of a few things. I felt like a little substance would be lost due to the fact that this is an 11-song album, and leading up to the release there were 5 singles dropped, which I'm still not too fond of, but the rest of the songs more than make up for it, because all the songs on this album hit really hard. They're very short and concise and really like hit then leave, but they leave with like a lot of substance, and I feel like that's the strong suit of this album. Going into this, I watched an interview with Austin Knight, their Waterparks lead singer, where he said this himself. He said that the goal of this album was sort of for the songs to be shorter, to hit, and to make an impact, then leave just as quick. And I feel like that is definitely the vibe you get from this album. It's very fast, very like punchy, very concise in a lot of ways. It shines in those ways. Personally, going into this, I was like, it's only a 30-minute album. Am I really going to get that much out of it? And I did. It was actually a very enjoyable listen. Even the songs, I had heard before, they fit very well into the track list of the album, as well as there are some very nice fade-ins, between songs and everything that lead into each other, and I love that about this album. Every song feels like the order was just perfectly made in a way, and there's a lot to love about this album. Now, is it my favorite Waterparks album? I can't say that it's my favorite. I can't say where I would put it on a ranking. I do plan on doing a Waterparks ranking. However, I don't know where I would put it, but it's good. It's a very good album, as I was expecting. These Waterparks are one of those bands that I feel like they don't disappoint, in my opinion. There are a few songs every now and then I don't like, but overall they are a very consistently good band. They really try to push things with the music they put out and how they do it, and experiment a lot, and I really appreciate that about them, that they're not just staying stagnant. That is what I hate the most about a band. Waterparks are a band that is constantly evolving, and it shows very heavily on this album. Going into this, hearing songs like Funeral Grey and Self-Sabotage, they felt very safe, felt very had a tone of earlier Waterparks, and going into it I was a little skeptical, because my favorite album by them is Greatest Hits, which is an album that they experimented greatly on. It's a 47-minute long album. It's their longest album, and every song on there feels like it was trying to do something different, and I feel like it succeeded in a lot of those ways. Going into this album, my other concern with it was that the experimentation that Waterparks really kind of nailed on that album wouldn't be there, but it was very present, in fact, and I'm glad that it was. Songs like Ritual, Real Super Dark, Starfucker, you can really tell that those songs have that Waterparks experimentation to them, with the weird samples and the kind of sporadic instrumentals that I really love from them, because they have very sporadic instrumentals, but then they form into something that's it's chaotic, but it's an organized chaos that fits very well for the vibe of the band. Now, a big theme of this album is the concept of religious guilt, and that's obviously something a lot of people struggle with. I personally have struggled with it in ways. Nothing too crazy. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and say it's been a big factor in my life, but everybody's had it before. I myself am an atheist. I know, that religious guilt can really weigh down on people even after leaving a religion. It can still be there and be present. So I think a lot of the messages on it about that, there's some stuff about it on Starfucker. Ritual is pretty much about that. And there's some other moments about it on the album. And I think it's good. It's a nice message, just talking about it and talking about how it weighs you down, and It's probably something a lot of people need to hear. Me personally, it doesn't connect with me as much, but I mean, it's not gonna connect with everybody. And one thing that this album caught me so off guard on, Curtis Connor was on this album. Folks, when I say Curtis Connor is a big inspiration for me, I don't mean that lightly. He is one of my favorite YouTubers. I watch his videos a lot. I go back and rewatch them a shit ton. They always hold up. They're very funny, and he is a very talented YouTuber who I take a lot of inspiration from. So hearing him, one of my favorite YouTubers, on on my favorite band's new album, you better believe I was like, huh? But on the end of their song, End of the Water, you can hear vocals from like lines from Curtis Connor, and it caught me so off guard on the first listen, because I was like, is that Curtis Connor? That sounds like fucking Curtis Connor, especially considering I just was watching his videos before listening to this album, which is crazy. And then I check his Twitter and it's him, and I find out that Curtis Connor and Waterparks are just like friends, which is crazy. That one of my favorite bands is friends with one of my favorite YouTubers, and I just found that out. Either way, favorite songs on this album have to be Ritual, Real Super Dark, and Brainwashed. Brainwashed and Funeral Grave both fall into the category of like love songs that Austin Knight has wrote, which I think his writing like that is some of his best. Those are some of his like lyrical like themes that connect with me the deepest, because like I've said in previous Waterparks reviews, the way he sort of expresses it and the emotions that he puts on display on the songs like that, I relate to very heavily, and I experience things like that very similar in my own way, and hearing that, it's something I can very much heavily relate to. So I might be biased on that, but the writing on those is always some of my favorites that Waterparks ever do. Things like 21 Questions, Lucky People, Telephone, things like that. As far as Funeral Grey and Brainwashed, they really connect with me. They hit deep, and I love that about this band. So yeah, overall, this is a very good album that I would highly recommend listening to. It's not their best, in my opinion, though my opinion on that could change with time, because it seems like Waterparks are always one-upping themselves, and even when they're not one-upping themselves, they're staying consistently good, and that's what I appreciate about this band, the level of consistency they've been able to push out over the years, while at the same time branching out and trying new things, and in my opinion, having it work very well. Amazing band, one of my favorites, can't wait to see where they go in the future, genuinely one of the most underrated bands out there today. And now for our special segment in the video. It's the time where we discuss the CD versions of this album. Now you might be noticing something. This isn't the normal version. This is an alternate cover version with 2 new songs, and it's a Target exclusive. I'll be showing you a better view of this here in a second, but before then I want to go ahead and talk about the 2 new songs on there. The first new song is called Why Can't I? It's a good song. It's very similar to Funeral Grey and Brainwashed in the sort of themes it portrays on it, but I can see why it didn't make it on the album when we already have songs like Funeral Grey and Brainwashed sort of filling that space. It feels unnecessary, it's not a good song, it's not a bad song. It sort of hits on the same notes that those songs do, and filling it up with too much of similar songs can just feel like too much of the same, and I see why it was cut out of the album, especially when, in my opinion, Funeral Grey and Brainwashed are both better songs than it. But not knocking the song, it's good, it's a good listen. It's your standard Waterparks song, well written, very catchy, just a great all-around song. And the second song on here is an alternate version of End of the Water, the song with Curtis Connor at the end of it. And the alternate version, while not being, in my opinion, as good as the standard final version on the main album, it's still very good. I like it in the sense that it gives a sort of feeling of what the song could have been. And it even ends with alternate lines from Curtis Connor, which is incredible. When I saw that was the song on there, I was like, they better keep the Curtis vocals. And they didn't just keep them, they put different Curtis vocals at the end of the song, which is just amazing. And I like the ones on the alternate version a little better, if I'm being completely honest. Here we go, the Target exclusive version of the CD. This cost me about $12. Little backstory, my first order for this got canceled, so I had to go there and pick up like a physical copy like at Target yesterday, so that was really annoying. I don't know why it got canceled. I pre-ordered it a few months in advance, like very early when the pre-order went up, so that was annoying, but here it is. It's very good condition, standard jewel CD case. I like the jewel cases more than the Digipack cases. I know Waterparks tend to do the Digipack cases, which I don't like have anything against, but I prefer the jewel cases as they're just easy to keep in better condition, and I don't like my CDs getting like messed up. Here we have the disc. Yeah, it's got like a really weird design on it. I don't really know what this is supposed to be. We got the frogs that are on like the cover of like the standard edition of the album, and here we have the lyric sheets. Now the lyric sheets look really cool. There's a lot of great imagery in here. Alright, and here are the lyric sheets. You are now leaving the property. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but it sounds cool. And we're gonna look through this. Now, it has the tennis balls are sort of like on the cover of like the Funeral Grey single. It's got the frogs again. It's got like the little like jewels that are on the Fuck About It single cover. It's really nice. It has some really neat imagery, and I think it like adds to it a lot. We've got this really nice spread in the middle with the album title and everything. Tennis balls again. More lyrics. Now, what's kind of annoying to me is that it doesn't have the lyric sheets for the two other songs on here. And we got the band. We got my boy Austin. We got Jeff, and we got Otto. And here we are, the last page of it, Intellectual Property by Waterparks. Incredible album, highly recommend it. But you can actually see that Curtis Connor, where is he? Yeah, look, Curtis Connor is credited in here, and I love that. Folks, it is finally here. It took way longer than I expected it to, but I just got it in the mail. I haven't even opened this. Oh god. Carter, I might have just showed my address. I might need you to censor that. Either way, this is it. Finally, a few days later than I expected, but it's here. Oh, no way. Look at it. So excited. Oh, look at it. It's got some differences to the Target version already, other than just like the front cover. The back cover is different, which is cool. It's obviously got the actual like album cover and not the Target version, which yeah, that's expected. I don't know why I'm saying that. There we go, boys and girls. I don't assume genders. I don't judge either. What am I saying? This is way harder to get off than you'd expect. And usually it's not, and usually it's pretty easy for me to get off. Get it? It's a masturbation joke. That's like a classic masturbation joke. Let's go! Here she is, boys. I'm so glad I finally have this. So it's like, yeah, it's got the spread that's in the lyric sheets for that one. The CD looks the same. I wasn't expecting it to look different. This has got a much nicer print than on the lyric sheets. It's got like a sort of like finish to it that's really like, you can really tell it's a little more of a quality here, which I like. Now the lyric sheets are in here. I don't like the Digipack casing as much as I do the jewel casing, but it's serviceable. Here we go, folks. This is the lyric sheets. It's got a different picture of the band. Is the signed card like, where's the signed card? Oh, there it is. This is what you're really here for, but oh my god. This is so cool. We got Otto, we got Austin, and we got Jeff. Oh my god, this is incredible. This is what I was really looking for. This is amazing. Wow, look at that. This is like one of my favorite things ever. God, that's so cool. I don't know. I want to try to keep this safe. I'd like to display it, but I'd be too worried about messing it up. Got the band here and another like image. The lyric sheets seem to be the same, honestly, but I wasn't expecting them to be any different. It does have a different like, oh, the boys. Yeah, it has like the same thing here, but this has a different thing than like this does, obviously, because this is like the Target exclusive version. I want to see what this looks like because it's like in place of where you would see an album cover. So if you put this in here, but yeah, either way, absolutely in love with both copies of the CD, especially the one with the signed card. That is what I have been anticipating for as long as I've been waiting for my copies of this album. Highly recommend this album. Incredible listen. I've been listening to it a lot in the days since recording my actual review, and I can say without a doubt that this is an incredible album. You know, expected from a band that with such a high, like, that a band like Waterparks that are consistently good and put out consistently quality music. One final look at this, in case anybody's interested. This cost me about $20 for the pre-order, but very much worth it. A little more expensive than an average CD, but, you know, kind of expected for something like this. Yeah, incredible album. I'm gonna leave this out, just because I'm scared I might bend it when I put it back in here. In conclusion, I highly recommend this album. It is absolutely incredible and is my most was my most anticipated album of the year. It lived up to every expectation I had of it, and it's just something that really deserves a listen, whether you're a fan of the band or you've never listened to them before. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching my other videos if you're a consistent viewer. If you haven't, please go ahead and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. And join the Discord server in the link below. I'd really recommend it. I'm going to start drawing a little bit of content from there, and I'm always on there talking, so if you're interested, please consider joining. Hit that subscribe button. Do whatever you must to keep up, and I'd greatly appreciate that. Yeah. Amazing album. Go listen to it. Subscribe. Today, it's free. You have no excuse. Bye. Love you.